Oh yeah, not looking. Yeah, that's a investment strategy, I guess.
I mean, I wish I had more money to invest is my real concern, but since I don't, then I'm not looking.
Yeah, now might be the time to start buying. Dollar cost averaging in.
Yeah.
But who knows? Could go lower. Could you see a 25K Bitcoin? I mean,
Yeah.
especially with the Fed stuff going on.
Okay, I guess we'll get started. We already have a few questions in the chat, but we'll get to those in a little bit. So I just first want to go over the rules. Just please be respectful, use appropriate language, and keep discussions on topic as much as we can. I know that some questions might trail off to off topic, but we'll try to clamp down on those. And you can either raise your hand in the stage, or you can ask the question in the chat, which is above the stage. A little candy emoji is the chat. So yeah, let's get started. A little background on me is that I'm just a normal crypto investor. I do manage a bunch of discords, as well as I am a core team member on a certain crypto, but I'm not going to get into that because that is not what we're here for. So I will let you take over and introduce yourself and give us a top overview of Kandyland, and then we can go for some questions, or I have some questions I've already thought of if you need some questions to get started as well.
Sure, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. So my name's Alec, Alexia I go by online, especially on Discord. Basically, I am the original founder of Kandyland. There's a few other founders, but sadly they couldn't make it today. Let's see. Basically, Kandyland was originally an ohm fork, right? And it was for a couple months. But recently we've decided to go about changing the model a bit and kind of customizing it so it makes more sense and works out a bit better. Because as we learned, I don't know if any of you saw Wonderland Time, but or even any of the other ohm forks, they're having they had some big issues with the buybacks not really working well, and some other issues. So we're kind of looking at ways to improve upon the reserve protocol, and make it work a bit better, and not give investors false hope with the backing, because it's pretty much a complete lie from what we learned. So we're trying some cool stuff too with utility-based NFTs, and we have some cool stuff coming up. So
great. And sorry, it's a fork of what token?
I'm sorry. It's a fork of Olympus DAO.
Okay.
Yeah, they're reserve. If you don't know what if you don't know what a reserve currency is, or a DAO in this case, basically users can go to a D app of the project. They can buy tokens for the project, the native token. They can stake the tokens for huge APY returns daily, like massive. And then they can also bond and basically emit more tokens. And when they bond, they basically are vested for 5 days, but they get a discount on the token. So it's basically a loop protocol that sustains itself, or we're supposed to sustain itself. But with the market crash, we kind of learned that it doesn't work too well with the backing, because there's something called the backing, where the treasury would buy back at the backing price, so it could never go under. But what happens is it just drains the treasury and everybody dumps. So we're trying to do the model, basically.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, you've answered a few of my questions. And sorry, what is your role within the?
I'm basically the head, like, project manager. I guess you can call me a CEO if you want. I'm basically the one that manages everything, and kind of helps allocate where funds go, everything like that. I basically come up with the ideas, and my team does so much work too. Like, I couldn't do it without them, so I'm not the only one doing everything. But yeah.
Great, and sorry, I know you mentioned a few of the core team members, but how big is the actual team itself?
Yeah, the core team's about 3 or 4 members. Three core members. 1 dev, really good guy, and then a bunch of staff members that help moderate the server when I'm gone.
That's great. Okay. So I don't know if you want to address your roadmap, or if you want me to get right into the user questions.
Yeah. Recently, actually, we're going to be revamping the roadmap. We're actually having a full revamp of Kandyland. And in fact, if you don't mind, I'll just link it here in this chat so people can look it over quick. Yeah, I'll just link it right there. So people can look it over if they have any questions and stuff, because we're actually redoing the roadmap. So the current roadmap is not accurate. But after this vote goes through, we're going to be revamping the roadmap so it'll look better and make more sense to what we're doing in the future. But essentially, we're doing some cool stuff with a new sister platform we're developing, where we will be collaborating with large rap artists, musical artists, and releasing NFT music and artwork with those artists. And it'll be all within the it won't be within the Kandy brand. It'll be a new brand, but it'll be a sister project, basically linked in a way, and so they benefit from each other essentially in time. So I basically go over everything that we're doing in that article I linked in the future. If anyone wants to check it out.
Okay, great. All right, I'm just gonna hop right into, I guess, some of the user questions, and then we can always circle back to some of the questions I wrote down, which I think you've answered most of them anyways. So one user asked, Kandy is a utility token, when staked, it will unlock governing tools that will allow users to participate in the DOA and auctions. Also, they will be voting for upcoming NFT and premium functionalities. In this current, I guess, bear market, when people stake and hold their profiles, when people hold their profiles, do they get a certain amount of Kandy? I think the question is, even when the market is down,
yes,
do they still get what's the AP, the yearly percentage?
Yeah, the APY, yeah. So if that's the question, yeah, you still are getting. That's the cool thing though about reserve protocols is you don't have to sell. Like, I mean, you could just hold, and when it goes back up, you have more money than you had before because you're staking the entire time. So basically, you're accumulating, compounding growth through the staking mechanism within the D app. So when you have your token staked, the price can go down, but you're still getting that you're still getting that extra Kandy reward basically to your balance, and it's compounding. So the more you have, the more you get. And then when the price goes back up, if it's a good protocol, which it should, then basically you will make your money back plus more. So it's not just like a regular token where you hold it and you have to hope that it goes back up, or else you're at a loss. You could have more faith in having diamond hands and holding. So
great. And I know that in the article you posted, or I think one of the ones, maybe a different one I read another day. What am I staking? Maybe explain that to our listeners.
Sure, man. Yeah, it's you're staking Kandy token. So it goes from, that's spelled with a K, by the way, Kandy to sKandy. So when you're staking it, it's called sKandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I buy Kandy, I then stake it, which becomes sKandy, and then I get rewards in sKandy as well?
Yeah. So it goes back, basically it circulates back, your rewards circulate every 8 hours. You get whatever percentage is shown on the D app at the time. And right now, it is pretty high right now. Let me take a look what it is. It's currently 1.9% every 8 hours you're getting back on whatever you have staked, which is insanely high. It's obviously going to go down, but that's actually part of the plan. We're planning on lowering it a bit more realistic, sustainable rate. But right now, it's a really good time to get in because 1.9 is nuts. Even if you stay in for 1 or 2 rebases, that's a big return. So
right.
I definitely recommend checking that out. So that's kind of how that operates.
Great. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. If I didn't answer your question, whoever wrote that, please tag me and we can specify more details of your question. So also as an investor, they hold the token for short term without understanding the long-term value. How do you ensure us that holding this token is more beneficial for long term, and what are the plans to increase the demand and the scarcity of the token?
Yeah, so that's something that we really have been struggling trying to figure out. It's a hard thing to figure out. You have to really give the native token utility, right, for long-term holders. That's kind of part of the rework we're doing. We're really trying hard to come up with ways to kind of sustain the utility of, or give the utility to Kandy tokens to sustain the protocol. And I think we're heading in the right direction with some of the changes we're making, especially with this NFT drop. The first NFT drop is coming up soon. It's a utility NFT drop. It's not just pictures. So it's going to give you basically a bonus APY when you stake the NFTs within our D app. The first drop is called KANDY Creatures. So that's pretty neat. So we're doing some cool stuff with that. And then also the sister platform we're developing right now will coincide to a degree with Kandyland. So basically we'll figure out a way to where the token is useful within the sister platform. So that should give it some utility as well. And we're always expanding upon this too, where we're thinking about maybe gamification, maybe potentially some kind of gambling games. Potentially, it depends on what the DAO, the governance thinks when we leave it up to vote. So we're trying to come up with creative ways to do this, give it sustained longevity.
And you talked about your NFTs. Do you want to expand on that? How somebody purchased those, or?
Yeah. So basically, they're not out yet, but when the development's completely done, and basically we're just implementing the contracts now, they're all custom thanks to our dev. When everything's done, you'll just go to our D app, which is it's just app.kandylandfinance with a K, kandyland.finance with a K, and you will see a NFT section there. And you just click on that and you'll be able to pay 100, the floor right now, or the floor is going to be starting at 100 Kandy to mint. And there should be, it's either going to be just one rarity or 3 rarities. You have to figure that out. But there's going to be different rarities most likely. And you'll be able to mint up to like 5 or 10 and max. And then you'll be able to either trade them on a marketplace like Udsc or stake them and get a bonus APY to your balance.
Great. Let me just post that app link. There we go.
Sure. Appreciate it.
Okay. Great. And if anybody else has more questions about the NFTs, just let me know and I'll add them to the question list. Can you tell us more about the Kandy roadmap? What is the next step of Kandy? And I guess that kind of is being reworked right now as per your earlier statement and articles, but maybe you can touch upon that for a little bit.
Yeah, so like I said, sister platform focused, built from the ground up around music NFTs, collaborating with huge, massive artists. We're already kind of working on something right now. Don't tell anybody, but really, really big, massive collabs with artists. EDM, maybe even like Monster Cat by chance. We'll see what happens there. Rappers, stuff like that, with big drops, which will go to get in front of a whole different audience, right? Just vast different audiences. That are interested in such things like music NFTs and utility-based artwork NFTs. So we're developing a sister platform there, which will be linked to Kandyland in a way. And then we're going to be implementing utility NFT staking and minting, like I said, into the D app for Kandyland directly. We just added more bonding options, including wrapped AVAX, wrapped ETH, and wrapped Bitcoin for Kandyland. So currently you can actually get a discount on, let's see, wrapped ETH and wrapped AVAX right now. And then we're basically getting rid of backing completely because we believe that backing is a facade. It doesn't actually work as tested. If you have a treasury balance of say like 50 billion, maybe it could work, but basically if you're confused on how the backing is supposed to work, so the treasury accumulates from fees from people investing in the protocol over time, and the treasury is supposed to be used for investments, outside investments, to grow the project even more, and or buy back the price at a specific price. For us, it was $1, and the price just went under $1, so we started to buy back, and we noticed that people were just dumping everything we bought back. So it was just burning through the treasury. Like we burned like $13,000, like nothing. It was a complete waste of money. Wonderland burned through like 300 million, 400 million in like 4 days. So like it just doesn't work as people thought it would, because people just they take advantage of it and sell. So we're getting rid of backing completely, and we're going to be trying to find some kind of a unique replacement that makes more sense. And we're also going to be lowering the APY to a more sustainable rate. This may seem like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. If you know that you could have safe yields on stable coins, this is going to be similar, but it's going to be even more APY, and it's going to be a bit more safe as well than having a massive APY, because that kind of gets people to dump that, and so we want to have a more sustainable long-term APY to get bigger balances and longer time people are holding and staking.
Very cool. I mean, just my own personal experience, it's the only crypto going through that kind of dumping right now because of the market. So don't feel bad about it because it's the whole market.
Sure, exactly.
So you kind of touched upon two other people's questions, so I'll ask them now. One was, what is the current APY? And the other one was, is KANDY a stable coin?
KANDY is not a stable coin. It was pegged to MIM, 1 MIM, which is a stable coin. So that means that it could not go below, excuse me, it could not go below $1 because we would buy back the balance to keep it at $1. But like I explained recently, it just doesn't work very well. It could work for some, but for most it didn't work at all, even the biggest ones. So right now the current APY is 4 million%, which is absolutely insane. Doesn't make sense. So obviously the more people that stake, it's supposed to go down, but we're going to be manually lowering it soon, so it makes more sense. Basically that converts to every 8 hours almost a 2% return on your money and a 5-day rate of like 16%. So it's kind of insane. So that will last for like another day or two, so but we're going to be lowering it a bit more so it's more realistic. And if I missed anything else, let me know. I don't know if I covered everything.
Okay, so you're not telling people to get in now, but get in now if you want that higher percentage.
Do your research though. Do your own research.
Yeah, obviously do your own research.
Yeah.
So what is going to be the APY after the changes?
We're still kind of thinking about it, but it's probably going to be around. We have to really do this carefully, and I have to be careful what I say here. I don't want to promise anything, but we're probably thinking about 20,000 to 50,000%, and that will also go down the more people stake, and we'll probably have a floor of around like 5,000% or something. Because again, it's not just a stable coin yield; it is a coin that goes up and down, and we're also investing in other things with the treasury. So that is a bit more sustainable than just a normal farm yield where you're getting like 20% to 100%, a year APY. So it is relatively sustainable, or at least a year, So as long as the treasury is still growing, we're making proper investments.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think those answers two of those people's questions. So if I didn't answer the people that asked this question, let me know. What makes KANDY any different from any other DAOs?
So originally, nothing really made us different, to be honest with you, other than our plans, but we're reworking our plans. So currently, I don't think really any other DAO is doing there's probably maybe one or two, but I haven't really seen any doing utility-based staking NFTs within the DApp. At least I haven't. If you know, that's great. But I think that's pretty unique. It's pretty cool. We got rid of backing. I don't think really any other DAO is doing that. Again, if there are, let me know, because I like to look and see exactly what they're doing. And to be honest, that's really about it for being super unique. I mean, long term, we're going to be introducing this new roadmap. You'll see kind of our plans. I had to discuss it with the team more. We've been really busy with this article and this proposal we came out with, but I'm going to discuss with the team kind of what we're going to be doing for the future with the roadmap, because that's going to be coming out soon. And there you'll be able to see a lot of unique stuff we're going to be doing. We were thinking of implementing gamification by chance, but that's going to be left up to to a vote for stakers. So other than that, we are doing the sister platform, which is pretty unique, and collaborating with a musical artist, which I think no other DAO has done. That's the first of its kind, I could probably say with confidence. So there's that as well.
Okay. Well, since you brought that up, I'm just going to ask a question that was just more recent.
Yeah.
How would this benefit current stakeholders by having a sister company with the music rather than the project being under the Kandyland label itself?
So Kandyland is developed on a. We basically, let me explain this. We'd have to completely rework everything. We develop everything. It would probably be somewhat of a mess. It could really harm the project. People might potentially dump, especially in this current market conditions. We're just a bit afraid about that. And also Kandyland, we did have a problem with our first pre-sale. This is a long time ago, where we had a dev go rogue and he stole the funds. So that's still a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, right? So we want to kind of have a brand for these big artists, because when the big artists, they're going to look into our project, right? They don't really care that we've come back, everybody trusts us again, you know? They're just going to look at our history and they're going to be like, oh, look, they have the developer that stole funds. I don't want anything to do with that. And they're just going to go away. So we still want to be relatively linked to Kandyland in some degree with this new sister platform, but we want to have kind of a fresh start on a new platform with a new branding name for the music NFTs, because we can do some really cool things there that will benefit Kandyland in the long term, pretty much directly, because they're sister platforms. So hopefully
that makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to answer this question from what I understand of the question. Yeah. I mean, you see Google doing that. They make Alphabet as their parent company, and then Google works underneath Alphabet. So I mean,
right.
The big boys do that. Why can't we?
Yeah, right.
All right. And side question, because I thought of it right now. Do you guys use smart contracts to lock in the dev funds so they're only released on certain times?
Okay, so how it works is all the contracts are locked behind a multi-sig, and our I don't know what you mean by dev funds, but the treasury balance is locked behind a multi-sig, and we've had it locked behind a multi-sig forever. Obviously, we have access to it, but we haven't done anything sketchy with it at all in the last month, so we're definitely not going to. I'm fully KYC'd. Everything's audited. I'm relatively public. You can look up Elixium. You'll probably find my real name, and you can find who I am. I'm pretty public. I even have video AMAs with people. So I definitely have no plans of doing anything with the treasury, but it's fully safe in that regard. They're not locked behind anything per se, but other than the multi-sig. So it's really secure. That means you have to have at least 3 or 5 signatures to unlock it, so no one can hack it. Other than that, yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I meant is just projects that I work on. For example, there's like a distribution fund that we send out. So we release 5% of that fund through a smart contract per month, so no one else could take more than that. But yeah, the multi-sig definitely sounds very similar lines in that.
Yeah, it's a security measure. Yeah.
Moving on. Could you please list 2 features of Kandy that will make it ahead of the competitors? And what are the competitive advantages that you feel most confident about?
Okay, so I guess I kind of stated this already, but I really do think the sister platform is something that no one else has really done with surrounding the music. And I'm going to be releasing the name soon. I mean, I technically have it, but I don't really want to say anything just yet. But it's a pretty cool brandable name, very short, sweet. Sounds pretty cool in my opinion. Cool play on words. So I think it's very brandable. No one else, no other DAO has collaborated with a large artist, to my understanding. A Reserve Protocol has collaborated with a large artist, like big, I'm talking 2 million monthly plays on Spotify. So I think we have that as a big advantage that would help us significantly. I don't really have to explain that, right? Because they push our project. Lots of new people jump in, and everybody that was in early benefits, and the new people as well if they hold. Hopefully they understand they need to hold. But we're also implementing, the utility-based artwork NFTs, so I think that's cool. And basically getting rid of backing, so I think that's a pretty unique. That's actually a positive thing, believe it or not. I know it's radical and maybe work the project, but I think in the long run, people are realizing now the back doesn't work, so they get turned off by stacking. The people that are really involved with protocols, so when they see it's gone, it's kind of a worry they don't have to worry about anymore. They know what they're getting into, right? I think that's so far what's making us a bit more unique than other DAOs, and we have more information coming out soon on the platform and the roadmap of what we're going to be doing.
Great. I mean, I'm personally excited about this project, but again, do your own research, as people always say.
I always encourage people to do research, even on my own project.
You might have touched upon this, but I'm going to ask the questions again. But if you touched upon it, you can skip them. Why did you choose a DAO model to build on? And can you give us details of the governance model of Kandy token and what benefits does that have for the community?
Okay, so well, originally I chose it because it was kind of the hot thing, right? Like 2-3 months ago is when I kind of started the project. So yeah, 3 months ago now, man. When I started the project, and that was what was really big. And I also really liked the model. Like I liked how it was decentralized finance. So there was no one person controlling anything, right? And then or one entity, I should say. And then basically the members of the community get to vote on what to happen. So yeah, sure, not everybody's going to be happy all the time because that's just kind of how democracy works. But majority of people will. That's kind of how it happens. So I think it's a cool model, and I think it just shouldn't be thrown out. I think it's still viable, and we're still using it to this day. Was there another question that I missed?
No, I think you touched on the governance as well. Did you touch? Great. The next question is about your map, which I'm actually going to skip because, as you said, you're going to redo it. So there's no point in on it because I'm sure you can't actually say anything yet. So first, I asked the question about the roadmap. I guess we'll have to just wait. Hopefully, it'll be out in the next couple of days, and then you'll be able to read it. I'm going to skip ahead to a question that was asked near the end to make sure it gets asked. Somebody asked about the best way to contact you guys for support.
You can literally DM me, man. You can DM any of the founders, and they'll either help you or reroute you to me. I'm always, this is my full-time job essentially. I'm just on all day working on projects. So specific Kandyland right now. So if you have any questions, just DM me on Discord, ask your question. I'll help you as fast as I can. I have a lot of DMs I still need to go through, but I'll get to you for sure.
Great, and I posted the same thing I posted a little earlier, Dan. It's all their social and a couple of videos that I put together my own research from them. So there it is again. So feel free to always join their Discord since we're on Discord and ask your questions there if you have any questions. But they're also on Telegram and Medium and Twitter. And then you can also click on the website as well. All right, so I asked that question. Going back up. So, if you explain Kandy to a complete beginner, can you explain Kandy in a few sentences to a complete beginner?
Yeah, okay. I will try my best, okay? I'm not the best, I'm not the most articulate person with stuff like that, but I'll try. Essentially, you purchase Kandy, like a normal token, like you would Bitcoin, for example, but in this case, there's an entire protocol that's backing it. Not backing it anymore, but it used to. Basically, what you would do is you take the Kandy and you can stake it in the DApp like you would stake into a yield farm. You would stake it. You can't sell the Kandy when it's staked, but you can take it out whenever you want. Every 8 hours, it gets a specific percentage back onto it, and it's compounding interest, so it's going to continue to grow as longer you hold. And then you can also unstake and take out whatever you want. And then you can also bond at a discount. So you can get Kandy for a discount. So say it's $2 per Kandy, you can get it at $1.50 or $1.75, whatever you have it set at. And then you're vested for 5 days, meaning that you cannot take the Kandy out in one big bulk until 5 days. And essentially you can claim rewards every day for 5 days from that. So then you can auto stake them. So it just depends on which one you want to do, whichever is more profitable at the time. Right now for Kandyland, it's mostly profitable to just stake, but we do have some positive options for bonding. And again, you can look at our docs. There's a lot of videos on this actually that explain how this protocol works. We're a little bit different now because we do not offer a backing. We do not guarantee Kandy at a certain price. It could go to 1 cent. It could go to $1,000. That's kind of how it works right now. So I hope that explains it relatively well. That's kind of the basics.
Great. I understood that. I hope the user that asked that question understands it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Just writing down other questions. Where's the top of my list?
No worries.
I think Okay, well, I think this question's written weirdly, but I think I understand it. There are several protocols listed under Kandyland DAO. Will there be any new one? And you have
tokens.
other blockchains that you can trade on or earn on.
Okay, I know what you mean. Yeah, so yeah, we're going to be adding more. I mean, right now we got Wrapped Ethereum, Wrapped AVAX, MIM, which is a stablecoin on Avalanche, KANDY MIM, LP pair, which is our liquidity pool. Then we have Wrapped Bitcoin, actually, and I don't think a lot of protocols offer that. So it's pretty unique. Hopefully soon all of these will be positive, so you could choose whatever you want. But right now the only option really is Wrapped ETH and Wrapped AVAX because they're positive. So that's currently what we have. We will be adding more in the future, most likely, as the protocol grows. We can add more now, but you know what they say. We don't want to give too many options to confuse people. We want people to kind of concentrate in different pools, so or very few pools starting out. So that's kind of the plan there.
Great. How you think you touched on this earlier, and you can skip it if you have. How the new, I guess, plan or roadmap or changes affect the old and current investors of Kandy?
It should. The idea, the intention, is that it will affect them positively in the long term. It could be 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. I'm not promising any instant returns here, but I'm trying my best to make everybody happy because there's 3 sides of the coin in this case. People want me to do 3 different things, go 3 different directions. So I'm trying my best to compromise for everybody and have it work out to where early investors benefit and new investors benefit relatively equally. So there's nobody that's upset with each other because I get that a lot, sadly. But we are definitely trying our best to make it work for everybody, and especially the early OGs of Kandyland. If you're in here, you know who you are. You've been supporting for the entire time, and I know who you are when I look at your name because you've been here forever. So I do personally really like. I wake up every day and I'm like, man, I really hope I can figure this out because I would feel bad if anything went completely south and you guys were just completely out of your money, personally. So I'm trying my best to be as ethical as possible and get this to work for everybody that was involved.
Great. I mean, from an outside person, the original investors have been making APY this whole time, so they still profit, or at least more coins than they had before.
Yeah, the current index is currently 2.5, so that means that you have 2.5x whatever you were holding, and if you were in day one. So there's that at least. You're not totally down.
So I think you've touched upon the second part of this question, but I'll ask it anyways. When will Kandy be listed, and does it have its own chain?
It doesn't have its own chain, and I know if you mean listed on a centralized exchange, that will happen when our treasury balance is probably around 1 million, because it's very expensive to get on these centralized exchanges. Potentially 500k, 600k, we could afford it, and that would give us a big boost. But we're currently listed on. We've been released for a month now, and we're listed on Trader Joe right now. That's where you could go and you could trade. It's a decentralized trading platform. So you could just buy Avalanche, and you can swap your Avalanche for Kandy, and then you could stake your Kandy. It's that simple. So you could basically buy Avalanche on any centralized exchange relatively, like Binance US, KuCoin, Coinbase, and you can easily send it to your MetaMask wallet or Wallet Connect and swap over to Kandy. So that's currently the only way to buy Kandy right now, but we do hope, trust me, I've been talking to a lot of centralized exchanges. They're just very expensive. Like, we're talking 100k upwards, just to get listed. And even when you're listed, if it fails, then they keep the money and they take it off. So, and some of these exchanges, so because it's a risk tolerance for them. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. I posted a link for Trader Joe's. Avalanche can be purchased on basically any major exchange now. So if you need Avalanche help, then you can ask, I guess, in Paulie server at any point. Somebody can help you find that if you need to. How successful do you think bridging will be in terms of making it more popular for Kandy?
Oh yeah, I think bridging. We are still going to be doing stuff with bridging for sure. In fact, a lot of cool implementations. That's going to be part of the roadmap for sure. I think that's going to make Kandyland much more successful because it gives people an easier way to get over to our platform. Avalanche is still growing. It grew a lot in the last year, but it's still growing, and it's not even near as popular as Binance Smart Chain or Ethereum, right? So we're trying to get to that level. And the cool thing is actually the sister platform is going to be completely developed on Ethereum. So it's going to be reaching way more people. So we're going to get eyes on Kandyland, from the sister platform for sure, in time, by just bridging alone. I think we could easily have people swap over through bridging, and we'll implement some cool stuff with that in the future. That'll be on the roadmap, and we'll probably explain that more in detail later at a later time.
Okay, we have about 20 minutes left, so I'm going to actually, I'll read out the questions, but I think they've been answered, so I'll read them out, and then I'll just say that they've already been answered.
Sure.
Will this new platform be integrated in Kandyland in the near future, the artist platform? And we have touched upon that, so I think that's already been answered.
If you don't mind, it won't be a full integration. It'll just be a link to where the Kandy token will be used somehow on the platform. We're still kind of working that out, as the platform is still under development. And Kandyland will directly benefit from profits generated from the new platform. So just know that it's not a full integration. It's not a full integration. It's just kind of a link. Go ahead. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I'll let you skip the question if you already answered it. What type of bonds are present for Kandyland, and what additional bond offerings are coming or are available? I guess.
So currently it's wrapped ETH, wrapped AVAX, MIM, KANDY MIM, the liquidity pool, and wrapped Bitcoin. We're going to be adding more. We're actually going to be leaving up votes to people on what they want. And we'll kind of give like a list of like 5 or 10 options, and we'll just kind of vote it. The top like 2 we'll be adding over time. So that's probably what we're going to be doing for that.
And sorry, and I guess that leads perfectly into the next question, but I'll add a little bit of my own question. Do only holders get to vote in governance? And how effective is governance voting?
Yeah, so only holders of SKandy or KANDY, which is state candy, SKandy state candy, will be able to vote. It's just only fair, and it helps the protocol grow as well. People really want to control what happens to the project. They have to purchase KANDY. So I think it's relatively effective. There's obviously flaws, like people can buy KANDY, vote, and sell, and for some reason people do that. They troll, or I don't know, they just like to see the world burn. But that's the only major problem I see. But for the most part, people don't do that. 99% of people that are holding KANDY are actually care about the project, and they're voting because they care about the project and their investment. So.
Okay, great. I think you've already answered this question, but I'll read it out loud again.
Sure.
What is the process until, as per roadmap, I guess, as per the roadmap, will there be any collaborators with any other project in the next stages?
That is something we're currently looking into. We're looking to collaborate with other relatively same-sized protocols with similar visions to us. I think that would help us both protocols, both projects, and I think it'd be really cool. Collaboration is very important. Networking is very important in this space, in any space like this. So we're definitely looking into that. We've already reached out to a few, and we've already kind of agreed on stuff. We just haven't really taken action because this market has been so bad. So we definitely are. We want to collab with people that are around that are our size or maybe a little bit bigger. That only makes sense, for our growth. So that's what we're definitely looking into that. I think we should do some cool even if it's cross-chain too. Like we could maybe provide their tokens as bonding options potentially. Who knows? We could see what we could do, but there's some cool stuff we could probably do there.
Great. All right, sorry, I'm just writing down a few more added questions. We'll get back to the list. Okay, this is a long one. The current vote that is underway for asking for a vote to remove the $35K from the treasury to build a sister company for music NFTs. However, the proposal does not detail the Kandyland ownership of the sister-owned company or percentage returns if it's provided back to Kandyland. And how will those funds be used in Kandyland? Can the structure be presented in ownership via a smart contract? That is a very loaded question. Let me know if you need me to repeat any of that.
That's okay. I know I read it before. So
okay.
essentially, I think there's some confusion. The majority of funds are not being used for the development of this platform. The majority of them are not. The majority of them are going towards our developer and marketing for Kandyland. We're just paying the same developer who's going to be developing the sister platform, which is Deco. He's a well-known developer in the space, very trusted. He basically revived Kandyland after what happened to it. So we're just paying him for a majority of the dev work. Obviously, we're going to be paying some outside front-end devs, but because Deco's not a front-end developer necessarily, but we are going to be coming out soon with a, potentially a full spreadsheet or document that specifies splits and basically tokenomics that will explain what we're going to be doing with the new project. But we're not at that stage yet. And the reason why I had the vote out now is because we're just trying to get things moving. It's just everything else is moving. We want to stay up with it, right? It's a very fast-paced field, right? I mean, DeFi is constantly moving. Other protocols like us, reserve protocols, are now pushing forward. Like Nemesis, they're doing some cool stuff. So we're really trying to keep up with the trend, right? And we have to. If we sit behind, we're just going to lose. So we're working as hard as we can to get all these numbers out and tokenomics and stuff. And that's actually what we're going to be working on after I get off this call, and we'll get that out to you guys as soon as possible.
Okay, so there was a second question, I believe, from the same user asking what the returns would be from current holders, and I guess that hasn't been fully decided yet, is what you just said, right?
I'm actually not even sure exactly what that means. We can't guarantee you any returns. We can only guarantee that we're going to try to grow the project, and it just depends on what you're holding, I guess. I mean, unless you're expecting a specific return. But right now, let me just say, the treasury isn't being used for anything. It's sitting dormant. So this is personally, I know it seems weird, like, oh, he's using the funds to develop a new platform. No, it's not like that. I'm developing a platform around a huge opportunity that we have, because we're talking to big artists, to benefit Kandyland. Because I think it's more brandable than Kandyland when it comes to music. Kandyland, no, it doesn't ring a bell when it comes to music, right? You think Kandyland, we could probably do some other stuff with Kandyland, like utility-based artwork NFTs, which is our plan. So that's kind of why we're going the route we are, with starting from the ground up with this new project. We can raise way more funds with this new project on Ethereum. Initially, we're hoping to raise at least $1 million with this new project, and it will go. What we take out from the 35K for this new project is going to go right back to the treasury. So, I mean, it's going to get paid back, and then plus more revenue in time. So we're going to work out the split. It's not going to be like, it's going to be a relatively fair split, I think. It's not going to be a 50-50, but we're going to figure it out. That makes more sense. It's very complex. It's a lot of math and thinking to do. So we're going to make sure it's perfect before we put that out there.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you have a question here. I'll read it out. I think you want to answer this. Can you know more about the collaborations with the medium-sized and large-sized music artists will be done? Can you give us any names? And who have you approached and will you approach?
So no names because contracts are not signed yet. I can't do that legally. But this person I'm talking to is a manager of 3 large artists, and they have millions of followers, millions of monthly plays. We're talking big time. So I mean, we're not talking about post here, okay? We're talking about a little under, but still, one day maybe. But we are talking a lot of streams, a big audience. So it's definitely very, very good for the protocol. I'm sorry, I forgot the other part of the question.
I guess how do you approach, and who else have you approached? Was the question.
We've approached a lot of artists, a lot of them in this behind the scenes. We've approached a lot of artists, and we've gotten a lot of applies from medium-sized artists, but we really wanted that big one, right? We wanted to get a big one, so we got a big one, and we're working on developing the platform around their drop. It's going to be an NFT drop. The plan is an NFT drop, utility-based, with a single by that artist. So. And they're basically going to be like pumping it out to their audience, and we're going to be pumping it out to our audience. So they are getting a majority of the split from the funds raised from the single, because obviously they're the ones that are producing the song and stuff. Or I might produce it. I'm a producer. We'll see. But either way, the timeline's probably it's going to be within a month. That's the timeline right now. A month from now, we hope to have this release or already released. So
great.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We'll look forward to that news. The next question is actually an interesting question, I find. It sounds like an interview question, but I liked it. They list 3 things, which we'll get to after. Which one of these are most important to you? And if all of the above are important, which one do you do first? And the 3 options are increasing token price, make token valuable, or building community trust from 3 aspects above. There's only 2 aspects above.
Maybe I could read it. Look over that. Did you pin that?
Yeah, it's pinned somewhere. Yep.
Okay. That's a question I need to look at and answer carefully. I don't want.
Let me see.
Or maybe you can just post it again.
Here, I'll jump to it.
I see it. I found it.
Yeah.
Okay. Increase token price. Make token valuable. I mean, obviously all of them are important to me. That's kind of the obvious option. But I mean, to be honest, right now, what's really important is getting the price up and giving the token value, right? Because we have a pretty good community, and the community trusts me, I believe, and the team. So I think that's relatively covered. Obviously, we can get even more people and build the community even bigger, but, you know. Push we're gonna have to make to have that happen. So we're trying to do something massive to really make that happen, which is why we're coming out with this new platform, which within 3 weeks to a month it'll be completely finished and hopefully launched by then. So that's kind of the idea. Is all that's very important to me, obviously.
Great. We have 2 questions that are both the same, so I'll ask them at the same time. Is there any plans of getting KANDY listed on TIP.cc? And one person just comments that this might give some great exposure to it.
Yeah, you know what? I thought of that before we even started Kandyland. I was recommended that by someone else. We actually do plan on doing that. We could probably do that now, actually. We're going to look into that. I'll actually write that down right now so I don't forget, because I forget stuff pretty easily. So we will contact them, try to get a good price, discount, and get it listed. Because that would give us really good exposure, I think.
Paulie might be able to help you with that too. I know he's involved with that team.
Yeah.
So Paulie, reach out to him when this is done. He'll put you in the right direction.
Cool.
Okay. Answers that question. What is the long-term goal of KANDY, and what kind of project does KANDY aim to become?
So right now we are figuring out our direction, our long-term direction. It's because we're going through a puberty stage, I think I would call it. So we really are aiming to be something that's based around artwork NFTs with utility, like maybe even a trading platform within the D app, something really cool like that. And we want to differentiate the new platform we're coming out with and this one in some degree, so they're not the same, obviously. So we're gonna focus on NFTs. Maybe we introduce some kind of gambling stuff. I don't really know how I feel about that personally, but if the community likes it and they like gamification, maybe a game completely based around KANDY, I think there should be some cool things there. But we're basically figuring it out as time goes, and right now we're kind of in a transition phase. So I don't want to say anything or promise anything right now. What's going to happen 6 months from now or a year? That's not realistic, but we will have a roadmap out soon in the next few days, hopefully, and you'll be able to read that. Just make sure you join the Kandyland Discord. That way you can see all the updates that we're coming out with and be up to date with everything.
Great, and I'll post those social media links in a second again. There they are. Okay, so the next question is, hackers and scammers are very active these days. Can you give us some information about the security of the system of the project? How safe is your project, especially for long-term investors? And how will you protect your investors? And I guess this is kind of related to your DApp website, I guess, because I mean your funds are on the website versus in your personal wallet.
Yeah. So how it works is I have a ledger for my personal wallet. I recommend everybody gets a ledger. It's very important. Ledger X. Get it from the main site. Don't buy it off Amazon. But basically, all my KANDY is stored in my ledger, so it's impossible to steal unless somebody takes my ledger. So that way they can't, hack into my wallet and dump the project, because I do have a majority hold of the tokens. But as for treasury balance and all the contracts, everything is locked behind Gnosis Safe or Gnosis Safe. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a very popular wallet platform where it requires, you can set how many signatures you want to call a function. So essentially that means if I want to run a function like withdraw something from the treasury, I'd have to get 3 to 5 signatures based on what we have it set. Right now, I think we have it set at 3 signatures out of 7 people. Because we had to get some stuff done pretty quick, so we put it at 3, but we're going to be putting it back at 5 soon. So that means that 3 to 5 wallets would have to be hacked. But they'd have to get our physical wallets just to get access to any of the contracts. So all the contracts are extremely secure. Even if they got access to my MetaMask, they can't do anything to the protocol. As for like website security, it's pretty dang secure. There's really not anything you can exploit within the website. Everything. I am personally KYC'd, meaning I'm doxxed. I'm also public, so the rest of the team's also going to be getting a KYC soon for some of the other projects we're doing. So that's that. We also are audited multiple times by the public and by 2 well-known firms, that being Soken and CTDSEC. So that means the contracts were looked at and they were approved that they weren't exploitable by their standards, and everything looks good. We have audit reports of that as well. You can check out the Discord. So we're taking security very seriously, especially what happened to us when we first started a few months ago, or a month ago or 2.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that answers that person's question. Next question is, do you have any plans to get in on the Deco or CoinMarketCap?
We are already on there, actually. We got on there a day after we got CoinGecko. We got on there an hour after we went live, which is pretty cool. CoinMarketCap a day, so you could just search Kandy with a K, and you could find us on CoinMarketCap. I will say, and CoinGecko, I will say that the price is more accurately updated on the D app. So if you go to app.kandyland with a K .finance, you'll see the price and all of our current market details there. It's more updated. You don't see a chart, obviously, but it is more up to date there for the price. Great.
That makes sense. Same with a lot of newish coins have that same problem, so it's not just you guys. It's a lot of those newer and the-app coins don't update as quickly on those websites.
Yeah.
Why switch from MIM to UDSC?
Because there was some controversy and problems within concerning Wonderland and the founders. It's a lot of FUD. I don't believe in a lot of the FUD, but I just wanted to protect the treasury balance in case anything crazy was to happen. Because, I mean, the news came out, what happened with Sifu, if you don't know, he ended up being some big-time scammer with a history of big-time scammers. So I just wanted to get out of that controversy and not be linked to it. So for the meantime, I switched over. We might stay, we might go back. It depends on what happens to MIM and all of that. There's a lot of destabilization right now over there, so we're just being as secure as possible. That's really it. We only lost like 2K to fees, so out of our like 100K we had, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's just for security, because I mean, at the time, like MIM was trading at, which is supposed to be a stable coin, it went down to like I think 90 cents or something, 95 cents. So it was kind of scary, right? I was like, oh gosh, it looks like it's gonna plummet. So I just took it out quick and switched it.
Great. Okay, we're running out of time. We have about 5 minutes left, so let me maybe choose some of the more bigger questions. For project development, first of all major priority is enough funds. Is your team financially capable to run this project? Do you have enough funds for development, and can you tell us how your project generates profit?
Yes, we have plenty of funds for development. That's actually part of the proposition I have, is to pull out 35K for additional development and marketing. Essentially, the protocol profits from people bonding and staking. We get fees, I believe, from bonding primarily, and whenever somebody purchases a token too, it helps our liquidity pool. So basically, whenever you interact with the D app, you're pretty much generating us revenue to help the protocol in the future. That's kind of the cool thing about how the protocol operates. So we are basically looking at other options too, like investments. We're like looking at some yield farming methods, very safe stablecoin yield farming. So we'll make like $100 to $1,000 a day, depending on how much we have in there, which is really good for the protocol. and other investments too, like NFT drops, which I think would be really cool. Maybe we go and we buy big hype NFTs that come out, we mint them, and then we use the treasury to buy them and mint them, and then we sell them at a at a higher price. There's a lot of things we can do to generate revenue for the project to keep it sustainable long term.
Great. Okay, let me ask this question. Have your holders responded in accordance with your expectations on the Treasury Fund withdrawal proposal? Are there any assurances that you've offered to the holders with regards to covering the cost?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Here, I'll tag you in the question.
Sure. Thank you. Take a look. Have the holders responded in accordance with your expectations?
You found it?
Yeah, I found it. So yeah, everybody mostly right now, I think we have like an 80%, 83% people, holders, want us to go through with our plan. As for insurances, we don't offer any assurances, any guarantees. This is DeFi. Everybody should understand that. Okay. As far as covering the cost, yes, the 35K is going to completely cover the cost of all development work. We're not going to come back and ask, hey guys, can you pull another 35K out? We calculated it, and from what it looks like, it's going to cost around 35,000, maybe a little bit less. But that's about what we're going to be spending. But yeah, we don't assure returns or anything like that to anybody. Everything is estimated, and we just put forth the project protocol documents, how it all works, and that's kind of how you should make your judgment call from there.
Great. So we're going to wrap up. We'll ask
Yeah.
two more questions. Are you considering any airdrops or NFT distributions to the stakers? I guess holders is what they mean, or stakers.
Yeah, we technically a while ago, we told the original people who were involved in the first pre-sale that got sadly rugged by our rogue developer like a month or two ago. We basically promised those guys, obviously they got their tokens, but we promised them additional compensation. So we were basically thinking about potentially airdropping them a free NFT that they could mint for free. And we'd have to work that out in the contracts and stuff, but that's something we're going to discuss among the team. With that NFT, you could use to stake it, or you can maybe get a rare one. You could sell it on the marketplace, if anybody wants to buy it. But that's kind of what we're thinking. As some kind of little compensation for the hassle, because I know it was an emotional, draining night when that happened. So that's kind of what we're looking at. If we don't do that, we'll find some other way to compensate them. Sooner or later, we will find some kind of compensation, and we have all their addresses, so we'll just basically airdrop whatever we decided we're going to do. We need to really think on that, because it could harm the protocol big time if we do it the wrong way, or we don't want to overcompensate, and we don't want to undercompensate. So we want to find a good balance there. That's why it's taking so long.
Great. Okay, and I'll ask you two more questions. I'll go a few minutes over. One of the major problems with Delphi is liquidity. Is there a solution that you guys have for this?
That's a bit of a tough question, to be honest with you. Like I said, we're thinking of any ways we can to fix the current problems and polish things. I don't have anything off the top of my head, I'll be honest with you. But I'm not a hyper genius. I didn't invent this stuff, so we are trying to polish it out, make it as operable as possible and functional as possible, and optimize it as much as we can. But there's only so much we can do right now. It's a big problem to fix, so I think we could probably figure out a way to where we can pour some money into liquidity over time, or do buybacks, a lot more do buybacks still, but not announce them, and not have a backing price, which would help the price as well, and maybe in return help the liquidity. But that's a pretty complex question in essence. So I don't really know if I could specifically give you a fix right now for that, but yeah.
And I mean, that's a problem, as the person said, that it's a problem with a lot of Delphi projects. It's not something you guys are dealing with individually.
Yeah.
Okay, and our last question for this AMA will be, how are the bond sales organized? What marketing efforts will be taken to bring in new investors, and will there be any additional benefits for investors?
Okay. So, bond sales organized. Do you know what he means by that exactly? I'm not sure. Does he mean like how does it work, or?
How are bond sales organized? So I guess marketing of them and maybe the back end, and then he's asking what marketing efforts will be taken to bring in investments. So I guess how you market for bringing new investors, and what are the benefits of being an investor.
So, well, the bond sales work through the D app. So if I'm just going to cover all potential variations of the question. Bond sales are organized through the D app. You just go to the D app and you can bond there. We are marketing to our best potential through Twitter promotions and YouTube promotions right now. We're going to be posting a lot on Reddit and trying to get people from our community to support those posts, maybe get it trending. And that's really all we can. Oh, also, I mean, I'm doing AMAs as well, a lot of AMAs, like this right now. You know, right now the price is relatively low, so that's a pretty good entry point. Not financial advice, but if I was anybody, I would get in right now on this low price. For potential investors, you know, I'm kind of a degen, so I like to take risks. But yeah, I guess that's really, I guess it kind of covers it. I mean, our marketing efforts, just kind of generic social media stuff, giveaways, just kind of pumping money into that kind of stuff. Do our research on good YouTubers to pay. Do more AMAs, stuff like that. That's really all we can do right now. Do collaborations with, you know, outside artists, stuff like that, other projects, and go from there.
Great. Yeah, so I think that wraps it up. We're a little over time. So is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, and again, everything I said here isn't financial advice. Do your own research. I always encourage that, even on my own project. I appreciate everybody coming out and checking out the project. Know that you can do all your research by going to our Discord, our website, our documents. We have a resource channel there that links you to everything. You know, follow our Twitter, join our Discord, get involved. We have a little community. Well, 8,000 people I call little, but we have a good, solid community that's ready to, you know, accept you with open arms. So definitely check out the project. Yeah, so that's really all I have to say. Thanks, man, for the AMA. You did a good job.
Thank you so much. And as Alex said earlier, you can actually DM him if you have any questions, and he'll get to you when he gets to you. He has a lot of DMs, so please be patient. And I posted their socials one last time, so you can also reach out to them. And I'm sure they'll be doing other AMAs either on their server or another server, so look out for those as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Great, and thanks for everybody for coming and asking your great questions. If I didn't get to any of your questions, I'm sorry. Just more out of time. And maybe Paulie will host another one of these in the future.
Yeah, cool, man.
Great. Have a great day, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Yeah.